Hi, Sally. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Hi, Julie. Nice to have me on board.
Sally is joining us from Cameroon. She's the executive director of Conman Action for Gender Development in Cameroon. And well, she does a wonderful, wonderful work, and I'm really impressed with what she's doing. So, Sally, I'm so honored that you've been able to take out time to giving me this interview.
I am also honored that you're interested in what we do in Cameroon. As I'm a representation of women and girls in Cameroon, we feel honored that you thought our work is worth talking about on your YouTube channel.
Well, thank you so much, Sally. So, Sally, can we talk about the work you're doing? Our viewers would love to hear about that.
Okay, Sally is leading the Common Action for Gender Development in Cameroon, which is an organization that is out to uphold the sexual and reproductive health rights of adolescent girls and young women, because we believe that if women don't make the right decisions about their sexuality, they will not be able to attain their full potentials. And because of that, gender inequality will continue to exist. So the twist that COMAGEND brings into this conversation is trying to orientate young girls and women, adolescent girls and young women, to aspire to political posts and to concern themselves to policy and advocacy that concerns them. Because if we looked at the world, we saw that issues around the world revolves around adolescent girls and young women, which transcends into their elderly stage as women, which is what a lot is being done to change. So to adequately address gender inequality, Comagen thought the best thing was to get to this group, bring them on board, because our main objective is to grant access to these people into decision-making spaces.
That is amazing. So, Sally, I'm sure that you must have faced a lot of challenges during your work. So, do you want to talk about any recent challenges you've been facing?
Because of our drive to make sure that women have meaningful participation in decision making and other issues, we are currently experiencing an ongoing conflict, which is very, very hard. And imagine a society where people were already victims. When the war comes, then they will be having an extra dose of the effect of the war. So Comagen had the opportunity to join a coalition of women-led organizations and women leaders who came over under an umbrella called the Southwest Northwest Women's Task Force, which is a coalition that is out to contribute in ending the conflict, while making sure that there is women's participation in decision making at all levels. So, as Comagen, the executive director of Comagen, and that makes me a woman leader in my community and also a women-led organization. We were given the leadership of that coalition, where I am now the general coordinator of that coalition. So I would not want to talk about the challenges, because we know working for gender inequality has challenges, but I want to talk about the challenges in terms of these conflicts. Now, because we are daring to stop war, which is an enterprise for the rich, because war is an enterprise for the rich, we've come under attack. And being a leader of that coalition of that magnitude, where we talk about no to violence, ceasefire, stop your guns, silence the guns, no to talks not blood, no to war on women's body, it's not been easy. I've come under attack on my person as a leader, social media threats, false defamation, writing narratives that are so untrue of me, bringing my personal life into the work I do, transcending that to attacking my children. So it's threatening my family. And this is not just for me alone. Mine might be too projected because I'm the leader of the coalition, but other members, women peace builders, suffer the same fate. Now, the other challenges comes from the diplomatic procedure that takes place in the discussion of war, because in discussing conflict, women are considered as passive actors.
Right.
There have been spaces that have been created by the state to be able to discuss the conflict, and women are grossly left out. I remember the national dialogue that we had cried for the national dialogue for 2 years. When the national dialogue was called, women were not invited. We had to steal badges to gain access into the hall. And even while we got into the discussion rooms, we were considered as people who had to listen. Some of us who dared to speak, we were like, Madam, you're talking too much. And the statistics are there to show that the displaced, be it internally or as refugees, the number remains women. There are over 60% of women who have been displaced. Those who have received the caregiving burden is women. And then if we come to tell you our own issues, they consider that women do not have the voice because peace processes, as the example we have seen in what is happening here, pays attention to military actions and power sharing. They forget completely that it is the social injustice that exists in the communities and inequality that led to those conflicts that we are struggling to resolve. Right. So it's been really, really challenging.
Right. I understand that. And I think you're doing a fantastic work. And I think you have support of women from around the world on what you're trying to achieve. And I wish you luck with that. So, Sally, let's talk about some of the, when you're working in a war zone, you're working with women, there are some memorable experiences which you have, which stays with you, with, those women who are victims. There is some spark there. Do you want to talk about any such experiences you had working with them?
One of the things I have learned living in a war zone is that the resilience of women is impeccable. True. Women are a different kind of being when it comes to supporting the excesses of violence and armed conflict. Now, when you look at the trend of war, that's the spark that I have got about women that I celebrate there. Though the world refused to document and celebrate women, I celebrate the women of the Northwest and Southwest regions who stand out for peace, and even the entire country, Cameroon. Their resilience is something else. I mean, in their diversity, they speak one language. We say no to violence. Silence your guns. Talks not blood. They can easily come together. They argue, which is a natural society. Right. They have their differences. But when there are things that needs to, they put humanity first. They put humanity first. Decisions are made. Like, there are times women have gone out to the streets for lamentations, despite the bullets. Right. They go out there to say, please don't. Right. Women have never denied the truth. That is what makes me feel very happy. They say, yes, there is a problem, but we are proposing that do a peaceful resolution of the conflict. And one of the best things is women give a lot out of nothing. That's the care they give to the community, even in this conflict, when they are not even sure of tomorrow. It's so baffling. It gladdens my heart because there is still that iota of goodness, that kindness, that softness. Even when they live in the bushes, you see women who will take even a plastic to cover children from rain and stay under the rain just to survive. Right. That is the beauty of human life, which is something that has kept me thinking that I am special like my sisters, that we seek to see humanity first, see compassion reign, see love prevail in whatever happens.
True, very true. So, Sally, my next question would be that I know you are trying to achieve a lot and, it is a constant struggle, but what do you want to achieve in another 5 years? What's your 5-year goal? Do you want to talk about?
In 5 years, I want to see a community where equality is a reality, where there is a shift in mindset, right, where there is equal access to opportunity, where opportunity is not denied in terms of your sexuality or your sex, because those are natural factors that we do not have control over. In 5 years, I want to see strong institutions that are not biased, institutions that are inclusive, institutions that meet the reality, the needs of the people. In 5 years, I want to see a society where people keep their ego, their desire for power and money, and look at how to make it better. So it's my dream that in 5 years, we'll have more women in politics, where the power of the pen reigns. In 5 years, we'll have institutions that respects quotas and international conventions that has been ratified by my country. In 5 years, I expect to see a political landscape that has had a tremendous change, where there is a takeover from those who have experienced it, now discussing the solutions that should be within these spaces. That's my 5 years dream.
And I'm sure you'll achieve that, because as we talk about it, the women has resilience, and they whatever they do it with love and passion. So I'm sure you will get that. I think let's talk about a little bit about the reproductive health we're talking about. This month I am talking to amazing women from around the world who are concerned about women's health as well, and I'm sure you have a great experience in that. So do you want to talk about that?
The politics that runs around women's reproductive health rights still baffles me as a sexual rights activist. I wonder why my body is mine, and then some other person sees to decide about how it should run and what should be done on the body and what should not be done. I want to start discussing this women's health from the perspective of a conflict. Now, within a conflict setting, when you look at policies that are put in place for humanitarian response, giving the people who sit on the tables to take the decision on which funding goes for which project, women are grossly left out. But they are raped. They might need condoms. They might need after-sex pills, not to have unwanted pregnancies. Those things are usually not prioritized in the response. It is taken for granted. Now, when emergencies come like the COVID pandemic, what happened was funding on reproductive services got easily diverted to funding COVID. But now, in COVID times, women had more need for reproductive services because they spend longer time with their spouses at home. There was issues of violence where we knew rape amplified because people had to stay in the same spots doing nothing for so long a time, which means the reproductive services, instead, the services would have been augmented or mainstream in the response, but those were not done. So what will I say about women's health? Unless the right people sit in making the decisions on women's reproductive health, then we will still be having problems about it, because there is a lot of misinformation about it, or assumption, or it is a source of power for those who want to remain in leadership to continue manipulating the lives of women and girls. I will not say that by putting water in my mouth. That is something that the world needs to look at it. For instance, there are women who want to have safe abortions, but we have criminal laws left and right. But now, when these children, unwanted pregnancies, unplanned pregnancies, when they come, women have these babies, the men go about their normal businesses. The women stay with it. When you get infected from an STI because you could not get the proper protection to have sex, or you could not even negotiate sex, because we realize our society even disprivileges women not even have a voice to negotiate the kind of sex they want to have, or when they want to have sex, or when they want to be initiated in it. And the worst part is that we have programming in things that we do not even take out time to consider what are the exact needs of women to maintain their reproductive health. You and I know that when the reproductive health of a woman is not well handled, every other facet of her health collapses. Because now, if I have more babies than I should, then I will be stressed out. When I am stressed, I will get into depression. And depression is a health condition. Right. Now, if I do not want, I get infected. Like there is a time in my life, there is a story online that I have shared on one of the platforms. As a married woman, I was taught that I should never refuse my husband or negotiate sex the way I want it. I found myself having STIs all through my life as a married woman. And the man will always play the scent. I don't know where the infection is coming from, but we are the two intimate people in the relationship. But if I had the power to be able to negotiate how I should have sex with who and when, I think I should have been able to prevent most of the instances when I suffer from an STI. So it is just, to me, women have a great limiting factor in their career lives, in their lives as leaders, because their reproductive rights continue to stay on the table of men. I've seen a session where they are discussing a reproductive right law for women, and every actor seated in that room to discuss that law is a man. How do you think the interests of that woman will be protected? So we need to have a rethink. I wish to encourage countries, international bodies, to have a rethink on what they consider as the reproductive rights, laws, services, provision, and funding. Funding for the provision of this thing should not be joked with or dealt with, because we need to prioritize it, because that's the very stem of the well-being of families in our community.
Very true. Very true. So, Sally, I know that you have been busy, but it is so great to talk to you, and I'm thankful to you for taking out time. And I think there are a lot of women from around the world who will be inspired by your story. So, thank you so much for being on my YouTube channel.
Thank you, Julie, for taking out time to talk to us. Let's keep amplifying our voices.
Yes, please. And if you're viewing this channel for the first time, we have amazing women like Sally on this platform on a regular basis. This month, we are talking about women's health, and we will be talking to amazing women from around the world. So do subscribe to my channel and keep looking at the amazing women's story on my channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.